Hey folks, welcome back. We're diving into the Jetour T2, that rugged-looking, boxy SUV from Chery that's basically a budget-friendly nod to the Land Rover Defender. Let's take a closer look at the crash safety rating of the pretended Defender. On the 9th January 2026, the Asean New Car Assessment Program, that's Asean NCAP, gave the T2 a solid 5-star rating under their 2021-2025 protocol. Not too shabby for a Chinese-built ride destined for Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand. But hold up, if you're watching from outside those ASEAN countries, then pump the brakes. Vehicle manufacturers, including the big established ones, sometimes tweak structures, materials, or features to save costs at your expense. So, if you're from another country, then wait for an assessment from your region's NCAP. You deserve to know the real risks. Now let's break down what ASEAN NCAP found on the Chinese-manufactured tested variants with 6 airbags as standard. The quick-learning Chinese have started listing some key safety features as optional extras. Hopefully, they don't go full Volkswagen mode, where everything's an optional extra, including, apparently, deciding if they'll honor your warranty. Classic. Only occupants in the front seats get pre-tensioners and load limiters on the seatbelts. Occupants in the second row get the standard fare, submarining, and chest-crushing seatbelts.
The front seat has gotten a lot safer in recent years. Front seat occupants are now benefiting from technologies such as airbags and advanced seatbelt systems. The same level of technology often does not exist in the rear seat to protect those occupants. Advanced seatbelt systems that we often see in the front seat of vehicles these days include 2 specific technologies: crash tensioners and load limiters. A crash tensioner activates immediately upon a crash beginning and pulls you into the proper seating position. A load limiter, once the crash is underway, relaxes the belt, limiting the amount of force on your chest during the crash. They must also remain safely positioned within the seat belt during the crash and avoid contact with any hard surfaces in the vehicle. The biggest problem we saw with this group of vehicles was the rear passenger sliding forward beneath the lap belt. This motion is termed submarining and results in the lap belt sliding up off of the pelvis and into the abdominal region, which can result in a higher likelihood of internal injuries. These test results do not change our advice to parents. The rear seat is still the safest place for children. Those under the age of 13 should continue to ride in the rear seat of the vehicle and be properly secured in a child safety seat or booster seat appropriate for their age.
Blind spot detection is standard across the board, which is a win, along with stuff like seatbelt reminders for everyone, child presence detection, and ISOFIX anchors. But the fancy advanced driver assists, things like autonomous emergency braking, AEB, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, lane keep assist, and auto high beam, those are optional. On adult protection, frontal impact protection was mostly good or adequate across the board, although the driver's left lower leg got a marginal protection rating. But you will still have your right leg for hopping around. The T2's body shell was rated as stable. Side impacts, good protection for front adults. Kids' side is where it gets interesting, or limited. ASEAN NCAP only tested with dummies for an 18-month-old and a 3-year-old, both in rearward-facing child restraint seats. No dynamic tests for 6 or 10-year-olds like you'd see in Euro NCAP, so we don't really know how older kids in the back would fare. If you've got bigger little ones, that's a gap worth considering, especially given the increased risks posed by the standard seatbelts. Bottom line, the Pretender Defender Jetour T2 is a head-turner with some legit safety cred in Asean tests, but don't extrapolate that globally. Markets differ, from road conditions to build specs. And although trends are improving, some OEMs still cut corners that could cost lives. If you're in India, Africa, or Latin America, then hang tight for your regional NCAP verdict to get the full picture on what risks you're signing up for. What do you think? Worth the wait? Or are you jumping on the T2 bandwagon? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like if this helped, and subscribe for more no BS breakdowns. Catch you next time.